NSS is a community-based organisation. We're based in Victoria, in Northcote, which is known as the NEMA area, or North East Melbourne area, as far as the NDIS is concerned. And we've been providing services to people living with a disability for over 71 years now. The NDIS, or National Disability Insurance Scheme, was introduced in our area in 2016. So from the 1st of July 2016, 80% of our business transitioned across, which effectively meant that our bulk revenues that used to come in from the departments no longer came in. So we operated for probably a period of about 6 to 8 months with very little income coming in as this transition was taking place to a user-based and invoiced system. We continued to make changes to our business. We made changes to our business processes, our policies, the way our staff worked, to try to ensure that NSS could continue to be sustainable in the future. And it was around July of 2018, we made a clear decision that this was not going to be the case. The decision we came to was that NSS, because of its scale, was not going to be sustainable for the long term. But we also decided that that was the right time to look for a different path for our organisation. We were still in a reasonably strong financial position, which we knew would change or could change very quickly. And so we decided to engage Patrick and his company to help us because of the knowledge that they have of both our own business, very clearly, but also the broader community of community-based organisations. And we understood and knew the professionalism that Patrick would bring to that process. It was a very, as you can imagine, to make a decision, a board, to make a decision to effectively close or merge an organisation that's been in operation for 71 years, when it's actually functioning very well, is a very difficult one to make. Well, the board engaged Patrick to come and work with the board and our CEO, so it was a very small group, no other executives were involved, to really think through what were we looking for, what did we want to achieve for our clients, because ultimately it was for the benefit of the organisation and our clients being the main process there. And so we looked at things like the geographic location of organisations. Did it need to be Victoria-based or would it be national? The dollar value. How big did that organisation need to be to ensure the long-term sustainability of services to our clients? The mission or the vision or the values of that organisation were very, very important. And last but not least was the culture, because it's critical to continue that culture of providing high levels of quality service to clients. And we just felt in the end that we came down to a number of criteria. We all agreed on what those were, which then we put out to Patrick to go and find us a number of potential partners. Started off with clean pieces of paper, lots of clean whiteboards, and we ironed out, so every board member had an opportunity to have some input, and over time we did change our mind or skew things a little bit one way or the other, and at the end we came up with, if you just take those 4 criteria, each of the board went away and really thought about how they would vote on that. And so each of us voted on paper to make sure that we had a collective decision regarding what the criteria would be. So a very robust process, I believe, in making decisions as to who a potential partner would be. Patrick then took that away. He identified a number of organisations that would be suitable, and we had already agreed on an RFI, a request for information, which then was sent out. So Patrick managed that process for us from that time on. Had many conversations with potential partners, identified or read through the various RFIs, some far longer than others, and matched them against the various criteria. And then we met with Patrick again and went through those. And that was an interesting process again, where we went through the process of ironing out who was the most likely to fit. And we had a couple of organisations who either of them could possibly have taken on the role. But when we analysed it further, it was very clear cut with a vote across the board which was the preferred organisation. We used, obviously Patrick and his team at CBA here, from the further consultants, is CRH Law and Joanne O'Brien and her team, as far as legal and regulatory matters. And the other is Derek Tan, who we use for communications. We felt and all agreed that it was very important to have a very clear communication program or plan in place from day one. And although we managed to keep this quiet for a short period of time, after Christmas, because of that time period, it was important for us to be able to let our staff know that something was happening. We couldn't tell them everything that was happening, but something was going to occur. And so by having a clear comms plan, communications plan, it meant that we could have all of our documentation written and be sure that we went to every stakeholder that needed to be told at particular points in time. I think there are two. One is the relationship that we have, the business relationship that we have with Patrick, which is a very trusting one, but also a very professional one. And the other is, and understands obviously our business. The other is that broad network of both the depth of experience and the extent of Patrick and his team's network, of knowing who else is out in the marketplace, who might be looking for opportunities. And we got such a great match in the end that it really did suit our needs. Successful, how do we define that? One is that we found an organisation with very similar values. They provide all of the services that we provide at high quality, but additional services, so our clients will in fact get more. We have the great majority of our staff have been offered and taken up jobs. There is only a very small cohort, and that was very important to us as well. So overall, it has been a very successful process. The organisation is known as GenU. They're based in Geelong, in Victoria. They do have a national footprint as far as their disability employment services are concerned. They have been in operation for probably almost as many years, but they are also an amalgamation of two large NDIS service providers. So they had the skill base, they've been through this before. They have probably 10 times the number of staff. They're an organisation that is 10 times larger than we are. They have the economies of scale to do what we were unable to do. And with all of our meetings in the transition period, every time that we have met with them, our staff have met with them, our CEO have met with them, just reinforces that it was the right decision. Well, as part of our genuine partnership between Northern Support Services and CBA, Community Business Australia, Patrick and his team were able to assist NSS to come to the right decision during what was both a very challenging but also very emotive period.